Yep, absolutely.
Everybody, this is Jordan Strickland, pro bodybuilder here in Charleston, South Carolina. We met like 3 years ago at Goals, right?
Yeah.
What inspired you to get into fitness or bodybuilding in general?
So as far as what inspired me,
How do you stay motivated to keep going?
yep, absolutely.
Everybody, this is Jordan Strickland, pro bodybuilder here in Charleston, South Carolina. We met like 3 years ago at Goals, right?
Yep, we did, and made a lot of really cool content since.
Yeah,
A lot of really cool
yeah,
content. Yep.
yeah. It's been fun, man. I appreciate it. Let's get into it, man. So the first question is, what inspired you to get into fitness or bodybuilding in general?
So as far as what inspired me, it's funny. My dad had been a bodybuilder for a long time when I was younger, and the actual act of working out was never interesting to me whatsoever. I went to college, played college football, and had gotten pretty big, not necessarily fitness big, but gotten really big to play football. And as I started playing by my sophomore year, I realized that I didn't really want to feel that way anymore. I felt very unhealthy, felt like I was eating a lot of unhealthy foods just to try to get big to be better at football.
Yeah.
So I walked away from football and I put more focus on the gym. Even though it wasn't my favorite thing necessarily to do, I just wanted to focus on losing some weight, feeling good. Didn't really know anything about dieting, didn't really know anything about training. So I just researched. Luckily, I had Instagram, I had YouTube. Fitness wasn't as big of a crave, 10 years ago as it is now. It's huge now. But back then, there was still guys coming up, posting videos of their workouts, posting their nutrition plans and stuff. And so I just educated myself over and over and over again, learn new things, learn new ways to eat more properly, make smarter decisions when I was going out to restaurants. And it just slowly became a lifestyle. As I started to lose weight, I remember my sophomore year, I lost like 45 pounds just eating better and going to the gym a few times a week. And as I started doing that, and a lot of people can attest to this, when you start seeing the progress and you start seeing the results,
Right.
becomes so addicting. And it became a lifestyle, which is what was so important. It wasn't a diet anymore. It wasn't me trying to lose weight. It was me wanting to be healthy, look good, feel good about myself. And the more I got into that, the better I felt. And the more I kept going, the more I kept educating myself. And it's funny, when I started and I got to that position to where I was in much better shape, bodybuilding was the last thing on my mind. And more and more people kept saying, well, you look good. Why don't you try to do a bodybuilding show? I'm like, I don't want to do that. And I did my first one, and the rest is history. I think I've done 16 shows now in a 5-6 year span, and got my pro card last year, won the overall at Junior USA's. And really, it's just one of those things where you have to start it to understand it. And once you start living that healthy lifestyle, it becomes so much more than a diet. It becomes a lifestyle that's something that's very obtainable and very doable if you give yourself the right tools, the right pathway, and you apply yourself and educate yourself. And that's really what it comes down to. Is I educated myself, applied myself, and just fell in love with the whole process of it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Who do you look up to during that time when you first started?
Julian Smith, that's the first thing that comes to brain. Yeah, me and him are boys now, and I've actually hung out with him a few times. First time I got to meet him in person, it was cool because I had been doing this for about 2 years now, and my social media had started growing, and he had reached out to me, which was like whoever your favorite icon is in the world, that was him to me. Like, he was like my idol. Yeah. And when he reached out to me, it was the coolest moment ever. And so I had learned all my workouts from him. I trained like him. I dieted like him, everything. And the more I got into bodybuilding, the more I just really liked Julian, because he had a really good balance of living the lifestyle and being in really good shape. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to just be the guy who wakes up, eats, goes to sleep, goes to the gym, does nothing else. I wanted to do all of it. And Julian solidified that. And so I got to go meet him at the Arnold and hang out with him a little bit. And then I got to go the second year and meet him. And he was a really big inspiration for me. He was just that guy that I watched his YouTube videos. I followed his Instagram. I followed his guidance and applied it to myself. And he was a big inspiration for me, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Bodybuilding and staying lean is obviously a strenuous sport. How do you stay motivated to keep going?
So one thing I always tell people, motivation is something that you cannot rely on. Motivation for me, trust me, comes and goes. I do this now for a living. I've done this for a long time, and I'm prepping right now for my pro debut as a pro bodybuilder. And there are very few days that I'm motivated, and that's just the truth of it. And a lot of people don't really understand that. They think, well, that guy's got to be motivated all the time because he's always dieting, always hitting his cardio, always doing his workouts. But it's not that. It's discipline. It comes down to consistency, discipline, and just doing what needs to be done. So you can't rely on motivation, because if you rely on motivation, you're only going to get the job done when you're motivated. You have to be able to do it. You have to say, if there's no social media, there's no YouTube, there's no other people at the gym watching you. Can you go in there with your headphones on, with the lights off, with no one watching you, and train and get it done the same way you can do when you've got 50 people watching you or you're posting to your Instagram story? Right. If you can get it done both ways, that's your motivation. That's your discipline. That's your consistency. So don't worry so much about being motivated. Being motivated is great, and when you have those opportunities, capitalize on them. Go even harder if you have to, or when you have the opportunity to, but rely on consistency and dedication, and the motivation will come with it.
Yeah, I love it. And that also shows that your love for it too.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. If you don't love what you're doing, it's going to get redundant, and it's going to get to the point where there is no motivation, because you're always looking for a reason to do it. There's a million excuses on why not to do something, but you only need one reason to go and do it. And that's why consistency and dedication is so much more important than motivation, because motivation, it will come and it will go, but the one thing that will always be there is your determination, your consistency. That's your choice. You're in 100% control of that. And if you can control your consistency and your dedication, you will be successful at whatever you do. It doesn't matter if it's bodybuilding, sales job, cutting the grass. It doesn't matter. You'll be good at it if you're consistent with it and you practice it, and you practice it the right way.
Right. Yeah, I love that. What are some key principles of your nutrition plan that amateurs can implement to help support muscle growth?
That's a good question. So one of the biggest things when I was starting out, I remember me and Sarah talk about it all the time. I remember I would buy like the lean cuisine meals, and I would get the low fat cereal, or the low fat yogurt, or whatever it is. I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't eat chicken and rice and beef and rice and, oats and eggs and whey protein. I didn't do those things. I literally just was like, all right, what's better than McDonald's, and what's better than stopping by and getting something that's fast, easy, and I know is not good for me. And so the biggest thing I would recommend for people who are starting out that may be a little more ignorant to it, and that's not a bad thing, that just means that you continue to learn, you continue to educate yourself, is to just make smart decisions. You know that grilled's better than fried. Right? You know that white rice is better than fried rice. You know what I mean? Like, grilled chicken with white rice is better than McDonald's cheeseburgers. So make smart decisions in that way. Like, know that, okay, this yogurt's got, 36 grams of sugar in it per serving. This yogurt's got 5 grams of sugar per serving. Which one do you choose? You know what I mean? Like, make smart decisions. And as I was starting out, that's what I did. I didn't know how to diet. I didn't know about macros. I didn't know about proper nutrition plans, what I should eat pre and post workout. I just applied myself to what I did know, and that's don't eat pizza every meal. Start slow and apply yourself and learn as you go. Instead of drinking regular soda, drink diet soda. Instead of drinking 5 a day, drink 1 a day. You know what I mean? And cut your caffeine back a little bit. Cut your cheat meals back a little bit. Try to portion out smaller meals throughout the day, instead of like waiting all day to eat, procrastinating, and then you get home, I'm tired, I haven't ate all day, I'm just going to order out. That's what you have to do. You have to realize that if you make those sacrifices and small decisions throughout the day, throughout your week, you won't procrastinate, you won't put things off, and you won't have to order food, or you won't not have groceries in the fridge. So starting out, make smart decisions on what you know is best. Make the grilled option when you go out to eat, instead of fried. Get veggies instead of, mac and cheese, make the simple things. And then as you learn and as you get better and as you see how much better you're going to feel, then you start educating yourself on what's the proper nutrition, proper macros. But again, my biggest advice for amateurs is just start slow, make simple and subtle changes as you start your fitness journey that will lead to long-term changes that will be more sustainable, consistent, because that's the biggest thing. Don't look at it as a diet. If you look at it as a diet, you'll fail every time. Look at it as a lifestyle choice and a lifestyle change.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's also like a discipline part about it too, because if you don't stick with this for too long, then you're not going to see that.
And it all comes back to discipline and consistency. All of it, every single, the gym, cardio, your dieting, and having the discipline to teach yourself what's needed. Because there's coaches like me out there that will help you, of course, but I can tell you a million things to do. But if you're not going to do it, it doesn't matter. Right. So applying these things to yourself is what's very important.
Can you share some of your favorite training techniques that have been effective in breaking through plateaus?
So one of the biggest things for me starting out, I remember, is I would only do what I knew. So like if I saw Julian do something, that's how I would do it. And I would do the rep schemes and I would do everything. And then like I would get to points where I like, all right, well, I can't lift anymore on this movement, or I can't do more reps on this movement. So that's when you have to start going back to the drawing board and implementing different changes. And one of the biggest things is I would always try to chase either a number, or I would always try to chase like rep ranges. Now what I focus on is really, and I cannot preach this enough, my clients will tell you, proper form.
Yeah.
It's not about lifting a certain weight, and it's not about hitting a certain amount of reps. It's about learning how to do the most weight you can do at the most proper technical form that you can do, because it's super cool if anybody can do the 100-pound dumbbells for a chest press, right?
Yeah.
But if you're just slinging the dumbbells around, you're not using proper technique, you're getting nothing out of that movement. If you've educated yourself enough and applied yourself to learning the knowledge behind actually where your elbow placement should be, where you should squeeze and contract at the top, how slow your negatives should be, and apply yourself on the understanding of how to properly execute each and every movement, because there's a wrong way to do everything, from a bicep curl to a chest press to a squat to a lunge, everything. And lots of people do them wrong, not because they're trying to do them wrong, because they're ignorant to it, because they've not applied themselves, they've not asked the question, they've not YouTubed it, that whatever it is. And so when you learn how to properly execute the movements, the strength will come with it, the reps will come with it. Right. So I challenge you, most importantly, to learn how to execute the movement before you do anything else. Any client that comes to work with me, for one thing, before I try to make them hit any kind of like heavy weights, anything, I watch their form religiously for the first few sessions, because that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how much weight you can lift. It doesn't matter how many reps you can do if you're not doing it correctly. So the most important thing for me, I really have tried to focus on as my bodybuilding career has progressed and I've gotten better, and I've noticed that I've progressed so much more in the last 2 to 3 years because I've focused on my form. Yeah. And now that my form's so much better, my strength is so much better, my reps are up, I can perform more reps at the weight that I was doing for a short amount of reps at a decent form. But now that I've perfected my form on a lot of things, my weight continues to climb. My technique, I get over most weight jumps that I can't get by, and it's just from, again, applying myself and understanding how to do it properly, because the strength will come with it. And any professional bodybuilder that's a really good lifter will tell you that.
Yeah, I love it. It's just kind of like stick to the fundamentals before you try to do any crazy stuff, right?
Yes, there's a reason the fundamentals have worked for so long, because that's the thing. Like that's why push-ups and pull-ups and stuff like a body weight squat can still do the right things, because they're so fundamentally simple that when you learn how to do those simple movements, you can apply them to everything else, and you'll just progress from there, because that's the number one thing. Get the form down, the weight and the reps will come with it.
Yeah, I love that. Weightlifting and working out 4 or 5 days per week can put a lot of strain on your body, obviously. Do you have any tips for how people can prevent injuries?
So that's another thing, kind of based on what I just said, kind of parlaying off the last question is form. I see so many people that, and knock on wood and thank God I've never been injured in any way. But with that being said, it's because I've been so specifically focused on doing it right. And for years, I did not do it right. I'll make that clear. I had to educate myself. I look back on videos of me squatting and doing certain things, and it's embarrassing to even watch. But that's why I learned. And as I progressed and grew, I understand that if I'm going to do this at a high level, I have to do it right. And so I think the reason that I can attest the fact that I haven't been hurt and I haven't had serious injuries is because I put so much emphasis on that form. The form is so important, and the proper way to do movements, heavy movements, whether it's a deadlift, it's a squat, or just as simple as a dumbbell curl, because people get hurt just curling dumbbells. And so the most important thing is just understanding that when you focus on that form and you focus on proper techniques, you are going to put your risk to reward ratio so much better on the specific movements you're doing, because you're focused on doing them correctly, not just moving a weight and just moving weight around, because it's not about just moving weight. It's about contracting the muscle, properly doing the movement, and that's how you make progress, and that's how you make progress safely.
How do you stay mentally focused and motivated during rough training session, or when you're facing like a setback?
One of my biggest things that I use we were talking kind of about motivation earlier. One thing I will say, I say motivation comes and goes, and it's very true, but something that keeps me really locked in a hard session, right now is a great example that we're doing this interview right now, because I'm 5 weeks out from a pro show. And if anyone knows anything about bodybuilding, when you get under 6 weeks out, stuff starts getting hard, and it's hard. And with that being said, I have so many sessions like that I go into and I do not want to be there. I'm not motivated. I don't want to do any of it, but I do it. And I put my headphones on, I put my head down, I put my hat down, and I tell myself, I've got a goal, I've got a date, I've got a purpose of why I'm doing this and why I'm in here. And that's got to be your motivation. If you want motivation, go get your own motivation.
Yeah.
Create your motivation. Right. And creating your motivation is having a set, okay, I've got a vacation I want to get ready for. I've got a wedding in 6 months. I've got a bodybuilding show in 5 weeks. Whatever it is, whatever your thing is, every time you go in there to do cardio, or every time you sit down and eat your chicken and veggies, or every time you're having a hard workout that you're 30 minutes into and you're like, well, I just want to go home. I don't want to do this. Remember that. If you remember that, you will push through. And for me, that's mine. I know in 5 weeks, I'm going on stage against guys that are going to be really good and that are guys are going through the same thing I'm going through right now. And I know that I have to tell myself, I've got that date. That date's not changing. That date on the calendar is that date, no matter whether I'm tired or I'm miserable or hungry. It doesn't matter. I've still got to do it. So create your motivation. If you're lacking motivation or you're searching for it, create it. Have your goal, whatever it is. And even if you don't have a set goal like that, maybe you're not a bodybuilder, maybe you don't have a cruise coming up or a vacation or a wedding, that's fine. It can be such small incremental things. Like I just want to, like you could wake up and say, all right, my goal this week is to just not cheat on my diet until Saturday. Great. It's Wednesday and you really want to get Chipotle. Don't, because you have a goal in mind that you don't want to cheat until Saturday. It's Wednesday. You're not supposed to cheat today. Let that be your thing. Let that be your focus. Let that be your drive in those sessions where you're not necessarily feeling it 100%. You don't want to get, it's harder for you to get through it. Go back to the reason you're in there in the first place, and I promise you can get through it. It all comes back to discipline and consistency. Right. And if you stay focused on the goal at hand, it will push you through those hard sessions for sure.
Yeah, I love that. What are 2, 3 tips you can leave for anyone that has goals of building their own dream body?
Building their own dream body. Go again. It's funny because I feel like bodybuilding and fitness is such a there's just like those 2 key words that I've said 1,000 times is consistency and dedication. Yeah. But again, let's say you're really overweight, or let's say you're really skinny trying to build muscle, you're overweight trying to lose body fat. You've got that goal. So let that be the thing that drives you every single solitary day. And if you're feeling it can be so many things, because I promise you that this sport, and when I say sport, I just mean fitness in general, not bodybuilding, that it will change your life in so many more ways than you can understand. It's not only looking good on the beach or being able to bench press 3 plates. Like it's so much further than that. It teaches so many life lessons. Yeah. It teaches you how to be so locked into something, so dedicated to something, so consistent. It puts you at a different caliber of human. And I say that very humbly, but it puts you at a different caliber of human, not because of the way you look, because of what you're able to do. Yeah. Your discipline, your drive, the fact that you can go in that kitchen and cook your meal prep instead of just ordering food when it's so easy and maybe way cheaper. That right there in of itself is huge. And I challenge people, and my advice on that, if you're trying to build your dream body, is one, if you don't have the knowledge for it, look for a coach. Mm-hmm. I think everyone that is serious about being in really good shape, especially if you don't have the knowledge on it, look for a professional to help guide you, because they will. We are out there and we love what we do for a living, right. And we're very thankful to get to help individuals. And the biggest thing is, like, we love getting those people that are hungry for it, and we help you, because all you have to do is apply A, B, and C, and we will give you what A, B, and C is. You just have to apply it. So the biggest thing is reach out for help. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. That's what people are out here doing for. That's why there's so many people getting in shape. I would guarantee you that way more of the majority has someone in some way, shape, or form helping them get to their goals. We all do, because we all need that accountability. We all need that extra little push. Sure. Yeah, and it just makes such a difference. So that's one of the biggest things. And then you just really, really, really have to stay consistent with it. Don't stop after a few weeks. Don't stop after a few days. Don't stop after a few months. Understand it takes time to build that body, to build that mindset, to build that physique, to build where you want to be. It's going to take time. But if you keep going, you keep going, and you keep going, I promise you can get there. Nothing is unattainable if you stay consistent, you stay dedicated with it.
Yeah, I love that. If there's someone out there that has aspiration of kind of owning their own fitness business one day, what are some steps or tips you can give them to kind of get started?
One of the biggest things to not do is watch a YouTube video or go to the gym one time and quit your day job and say, I'm going to be a fitness coach or I'm going to be a professional bodybuilder. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that do that, and I've seen and met a lot of people that have done that, and it has not worked out for them. I'll share a very short version of my story. Again, college, football, quit playing football, started getting in shape. As I started getting in shape, I had people obviously reach out to me. Hey, can you help me with dieting? Can you help me with a nutrition plan? I didn't know everything I was doing, but I knew what I was doing for myself. So I, in some way, shape, or form, helped them apply that to their lives. And when I started realizing, okay, maybe I can do this for a living, and maybe I could be an entrepreneur, and maybe I can build my business. Now, keep in mind, 5 years of college, and I graduated. I was in college during this with a dream of building my own business. Not an easy thing to do. Right. Social life, family life, girlfriend, classes, sports at the time, and then also trying to build a business and be in shape. So what did I do? I didn't quit everything. I still needed money. I still had to buy my groceries to eat my meal prep and all these things. So I got a job at a gym. I got a job at Gold's Gym as a sales rep, and I worked there a few hours a week, and on the side tried to continue building my own platform. And what happened was I knew I had steady income that I could get the job done. I could pay for my gym membership. I could pay for my meal prep, because you got to be able to do that. You can't start from zero.
Yeah.
Because if you start from, you have nothing to invest into and to put into your business. So you got to be making money. You got to have something somewhat stable so you can pay your bills and do your thing, and then chase your dream on the side. And when you get to a comfortable position, you're going to be put in a position where you have to make that leap of faith. And so what I did was I got to that point to where I had built it enough to where I could, okay, now I'm going to take the risk. And I took the risk and I went for it. And luckily, we're here a decade later, and it's really worked out really well. And I've been able to do a lot in the fitness industry. I've been in it now for 7-8 years, and been a coach for, almost 10. And it's been really amazing. And I just want to just express to you guys, understand that it can happen and it can come. But don't just drop everything and quit everything. Everyone thinks, well, just go for it. Just chase your dreams. And yes, chase your dreams, but do it the smart way and the correct way. Don't set yourself up for failure with not having income to pay your bills or to buy your food, you know what I mean, or buy your gym membership, because it's not going to happen. And that goes for anything, like whether it's starting, photography and videography. If you can't buy your gear, you can't start it. Right. You know what I mean? So you have to have some way, shape, or form of having some kind of stability in your life while chasing that dream. And then there's going to come a point where it's about 50-50, and then you take that leap. And so just trust the process, trust yourself, do it the smart way. And when you get to that point, which you will and you can, that's when you take your leap, and then you put all your eggs in one basket and you go 100 miles an hour at it. And again, whether it's building a business or getting in shape, doing bodybuilding, whatever it is, you got to give it 110%. Once you get there, give it 110%, stay dedicated with it, stay consistent with it. And I saw a really good quote the other day, and it said, every winner is a loser that just tried one more time. And I've lost many, many times, but I've also won many, many times. And that's the beauty of it. Like, when I lose, I got to get back up and I got to go again, because I'll win, but I got to keep going. Right. And you'll win, but you got to keep going. So just remember that everyone you see out there that's super successful and millionaires and this, that, and the other, they've lost tons of times they've lost, but they got up and they kept going. And that's the difference in winners and losers long term. The winners, they keep getting up after they lose. And so that's my biggest advice, is don't give up after the first, second, third, fourth, fifth try. You just got to keep going. Yeah.
I love that. Where can people find you if they want to work with you or get coaching from you?
So my coaching platform and my Instagram is my biggest one that I do mostly for coaching, sales, and stuff like that, and most of my promoting and advertising. And so my Instagram is at jstrickfitness. And what you see on there will be a lot of content of me training and stuff like that. Occasionally I'll share, nutritional tips, workout videos and stuff like that, posing videos, and lots of things. You can DM me directly, just DM me coaching, and I'll get back to you very immediately. Like it's funny, I have a lot of people that reach out to me. I just signed up to two new people today, and they always say, wow, I can't believe you responded so fast. And it's like, I think about it and I'm like, why would you not respond fast? Like, if this is what you do for a living, you know what I mean? And I love my job, is my point. I'm always on it when it comes to those things. I really, really love the people I get to help. I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of amazing individuals over the years. And it's truly a privilege to get to do what I do and really help people and care about what I do. And I would not be anywhere if it wasn't for my clients, my followers, and the people that have supported me through this. So at jstrickfitness, reach out anytime. I also have a new custom app that is very, very affordable. So it's one where you don't work with me directly, but what I've done is I've designed the app and developed it to where you get custom dieting, custom workouts, lots of really good tips and tricks, and just good knowledge that really helps someone, especially if you're in the beginner stage. It will build you all the stuff you need to really stay on track. And then if you want to work with me directly, just shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll get right back to you.
Amazing, man. I appreciate your time. Everybody, Jordan Strickland.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
man.
brother. Yep. Let's stop the flex.
Yeah.